these are the rarest and most expensive watches on Pawn Stars. Rolex King Midas. This woman wants to sell an antique gold Rolex. It's a gold Rolex watch from the 1960s, the King Midas, one of the most memorable models in the history of luxury watches. The owner says she inherited it from her father, but doesn't know where he got it. Rick comments that gold watches became very popular in the early 60s, and Rolex did not want to be left behind, so they designed one of the most luxurious watches of the time, the King Midas, being the most expensive and heaviest gold watch on the market with its 110 grams of 18-karat gold. Rick is amazed by the watch and asks the seller for how much she would sell it, to which she said that she wanted $28,000 for the watch. Rick comments that he has seen them between $20,000 and $25,000 online, but that he will need a lower price to sell it quickly, so Rick offers her $15,000. The owner thinks about it and asks for $17,000. Rick counteroffers with $16,500, and the seller agrees with this offer and leaves extremely happy. Seiko TV Watch. This man came into the pawn shop with a 1982 Seiko TV watch. The customer won the watch in a raffle at a jewelry store and now wants to sell it. The watch had many features that were ahead of its time.
Seiko was just ahead of their time when it came to watches. They were innovative.
Chumley knew he wanted to buy this watch. However, the customer wanted $800 for the item.
How much are you looking for?
Was hoping to get like $800 out of it.
But Chumley didn't believe it was worth that much. The two entered into a rather heated negotiation.
I mean, we're looking at like 150 bucks.
Could you do a little bit more, like, you know, like 250?
The seller tried to get more money for the watch and asked for $250, but Chumley didn't even budge from his price. And in the end, they made the following deal.
How about 175? We'll call it a deal.
I could do 175.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's Audemars Piguet watch. A confident-looking man entered the store carrying a briefcase. What he pulled out from inside was an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak End of Days, a piece instantly recognizable as one of the most iconic watches in the collectible world. The watch was a Swiss masterpiece. Its 42mm matte black coated stainless steel case contrasted dramatically with its fluorescent yellow markers and textured rubber strap. It was bold, masculine, and futuristic. This watch was created in 1999 to coincide with the release of End of Days, the apocalyptic film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. It wasn't simply an accessory, it was one of the first major collaborations between a high-end watchmaking firm and a film production. What makes this watch particularly coveted among collectors is its extreme rarity. According to Audemars Piguet, only 500 units were made. The seller explained that he had acquired it at a private auction in Geneva 3 years earlier. The owner was asking $40,000, a considerable sum even for a watch of this caliber and exclusivity. Rick, always cautious with pieces of this value, called his luxury watch expert. The expert confirmed the watch's authenticity and its excellent condition, but highlighted the lack of a proven direct connection to Schwarzenegger. Without that verifiable connection, the watch was worth considerably less than the seller was asking. After a thorough appraisal, the expert valued the watch at between $22,000 and $28,000, significantly below the $40,000 asking price. Rick offered $20,000, arguing that he would need space to make a profit and that finding a buyer for such a specialized watch could take time. The seller, convinced of the watch's future potential, was unwilling to accept less than $35,000. After several counteroffers that failed to bring the two sides together, the negotiation finally ended with no deal being made. 1923 Audemars pocket watch. This man came into the pawn shop looking to get money for his Audemars pocket watch. The watch was in excellent condition and was made of 18-karat gold.
What's it made of, do you know?
I believe it's 18 karat gold.
Corey was amazed by this watch and proceeded to explain that railroad engineers use these watches because they had to keep time very precisely so as to never lose synchronization, otherwise the trains could crash. Corey knows that these watches are highly collectible and can be worth quite a bit, but before making an offer, he wants to inspect the mechanism.
We got one problem. It's a European pocket watch.
Corey discovers that it's a European pocket watch, and people don't collect them that much, and this news lowers the price of the watch. Corey then proceeds to make an offer of $1,000.
I'm thinking about 1,000.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's
The seller is very disappointed with this price since he wanted $10,000 for the watch. He doesn't want to sell the watch for such a low price, so in the end, the deal fell through. John Hancock's watch. This man entered the shop with a fascinating set of historical artifacts, a vintage Swiss pocket watch and a waistcoat that belonged to John Hancock, a key figure in American history. century. Brian, known for his impressive collection of Revolutionary War artifacts, has been trying to have these items appraised and is excited to share them with Rick. Brian reveals that the pocket watch belonged to John Hancock, one of the principal signers of the Declaration of Independence, and he has valued it at $150,000. Along with the watch, he is also offering Hancock's 17th century waistcoat, valuing the entire lot at $400,000.
How much do you want for these?
I'd sell the pair at $400,000.
Rick's interest is particularly focused on the pocket watch due to its historical significance. He points out that owning an 18-karat gold watch in the late 18th century was an important status symbol, making it a highly coveted item. Rick knows that Hancock was one of the wealthiest people in New England, which increases the watch's appeal. Brian adds further value to the object by pointing out that the clock has been part of his family's collection for the past 150 years. He mentions that he acquired the items at auction 10 to 15 years ago. To authenticate the clock's provenance, Brian presents a letter from 1890 detailing the clock's historical journey through his family. Although impressed by the historical value, he feels the price of $150,000 is too high. Rick makes a starting offer of $125,000, hoping to avoid lengthy negotiations.
Why don't you just let me give you $125,000 and then we don't have to go back and forth?
However, Brian is firm on his price, arguing that he cannot accept anything less than $150,000. After a meeting, Rick proposes a compromise of $140,000 for the clock, but Brian remains adamant. Brian eventually accepts Rick's offer.
You have a deal.
Thanks.
They both agree to finalize the sale and complete the paperwork the next day. Antique Tiffany & Company clock. This woman walked into the pawn shop with an antique Tiffany & Company clock. It was a one-of-a-kind piece, and the customer wanted $8,000 for it. Rick knew a lot about the item and explained all the details to the customer.
This is called a banjo clock. On federal clocks, this was like the most popular motif.
Rick then made an offer of $1,200, which was much less than the $8,000 price the seller was seeking.
I'm looking for $8,000.
I'll give you like $1,200.
The seller was willing to lower her price to $4,500, but Rick still thought it was too high and made this final offer.
I'd go 13.
In the end, their prices were too far apart and they couldn't reach an agreement. Dunhill watch lighter. Next up, we have a client who was seeking money for a 1926 Dunhill watch lighter. This was the first lighter manufacturer to incorporate a watch into their lighter and was truly ahead of its time. The lighter, for its time, was extremely prestigious and was used by wealthy people.
I mean, it was a very popular lighter. You know, the prestigious, I'm doing well lighter.
The client was looking to obtain a significant amount of money.
What are you looking to get for it?
$6,000.
But unfortunately, the item wasn't in the best condition and therefore wasn't worth much, so Corey made this offer.
Let's do 4.
Sure.
All right.
Restored time card clock. The next customer came into the pawn shop with an antique clock that was honestly pretty cool. Corey was instantly impressed by the item and mentioned its historical significance.
Up until this was invented, there was somebody sitting in an office somewhere who would write down in a book when you came to work.
This clock was originally used to keep track of staff members and their arrival time. The watch was in excellent condition and the customer wanted $2,500 for it.
What are you looking to get out of this thing?
About $2,500.
Corey really liked this watch and made the seller the following offer.
I'm about at the $700 range, man.
The seller wasn't happy with such a low offer and said he was only willing to lower the price to $2,300. Corey said that the most he was willing to pay for the watch was $1,000.
I think I'll do $1,100 and I think you should take that deal.
No, I don't think so.
The seller still disagreed with this low offer and said that the final price he would sell the watch for would be $1,800.
What do you think about 18?
Corey considered that price too high, so in the end, no deal was made. Bernie Madoff's Rolex. A customer arrives at the pawn shop with a 1936 Rolex that belonged to Bernie Madoff, the infamous con man behind the largest Ponzi scheme in history. He's looking to sell the watch for the staggering sum of $75,000.
And how much did you want for it?
$75,000.
Really?
Rick, knowing the delicate nature of valuing historic pieces, becomes suspicious when he hears the watch has been professionally restored. Upon closer inspection, he discovers the Rolex's dial and hands have been replaced, significantly reducing its value. Instead of the $75,000 the customer was expecting, Rick offers only $10,000, since in the collector's world, original pieces are essential.
I mean, with the replaced parts, I'd give like 10 grand for it.
I certainly think it's worth more than that.
Unfortunately, in the end, the deal fell through because Rick's price was too low.